Well, wena boju, nenda wena mani duk. Nungo kwandej ni kas biju ndo dem. Match-E-B-Nash-She-Wish Pottawatomi Minwa Lakuta Ray Lake Superior Ojibwe Nishnabe Kwe and Dow. Wabajo Zibi Minwa Middle Village and Donjiba. Shaganashi Muin Majima. Hello, everybody, my relatives. My name is Shannon Martin, and I'm your MC to the second annual Tribal Museums Day 2023. We thank you all for joining us here today. So we're going to start our journey together, our day together in our most beautiful way. We're going to ask our host site, Andy Vig, over at the Hoċokata Ťi Museum in the Shakopee Mdewakanton Dakota community, the Sioux community, to offer an invocation. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you, Shannon. Mitake wana wacheunkiapik day. My relatives, we're going to pray now. Atewa kantanka ga tukanshida. Tate dopa dakushkanshkan. Ampetu kinde ninawashte unkupi hapida uyampi. Atewa kantanka dewo cheke unkagapi namichi hu hoyeya. Atewa kantanka makata kia ahituwaga ushi udapi. Oyate was ga tiwahe ga wodakuye wache unkiapi. Hechid daya niupta. Atewa kantanka daya wichoni unkupta hawopide tanka unkinichiapi. Ehake daku shicha ed ukdeshni. Hechid daya niupta unspe yakiapta. Wakantanka dechid wocheka unkagapi. Ho hechid tunue wopide tanka mitakuye owas. Thank you, and back to you, Shannon.
Nahau. Miigwech, Andy, for your prayer and for starting us off in a good way. We are now going to receive an official welcome from Frank Edewagijic. Frank is the president of the board for the Association on American Indian Affairs, and he's coming to us live from his home in Harbor Springs, Michigan. Uncle Frank, welcome.
Thank you, Shannon. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to be alive. It's a beautiful day here in this wonderful creation. I'd like to welcome everybody on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Association on American Indian Affairs, our Council of Advisors, and all of our staff. This is our 101st year, and this project of National Tribal Museums Day is a project that we started in this second 100 years of our existence. We've been working on protecting sovereignty, preserving culture and languages. We do scholarships, and a lot of the work that we do is around the issues of repatriation, protecting and bringing home our ancestors, both here and abroad, from institutions where they don't belong, and bringing them back home where they need to be, and treating them with respect. This is a big part of what we do, but we appreciate the work that all these museums do across the country, and like to be able to highlight what's going on in all of these different places around the country, because Indian country is alive and vibrant. Indian country is definitely in the present tense, and not just in the past tense, but in the present tense and the future tense as we speak. And so the museums are hubs of this energy, and we really welcome you to be here for part of this today. And I really appreciate all the different museums that have been part of it, that were part of the live broadcast, and also those that are not part of the live broadcast but have different things going on through this, not just today, but through these several days of our museum celebration. So once again, welcome, and I look forward to everybody speaking today. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Uncle Frank, for your words and your good work for the Association on American Indian Affairs, leading the organization into another 100 years of advocacy and service to Native America. So, achievement for the association to hold the title as the oldest Native American nonprofit in the country. Tribal Museums Day was envisioned by the association in 2022 to bring more people through tribal museum and cultural center doors and change more hearts and minds about our diverse histories and contemporary lives. Tribal Museums Day affirms our nations as the primary authorities of our cultures, languages, knowledges, truths, and values. To accomplish this awareness, the association wanted to give back in recognition of its 100th birthday last year by supporting tribal museums and cultural centers across Native America with a public marketing campaign, Tribal Museums Day. The association counts nearly 140 tribally operated and owned tribal museums and cultural centers across the country. These places play a vital role within our Native communities and are catalysts for our dynamic cultures. Tribal museums and cultural centers do not only interpret and share our cultures, but their most vital role is to provide space for Native communities to activate and participate in arts and traditions, as well as to effectuate tribal responsibilities to the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, or NAGPRA. They also preserve tribal languages, and above all else, they present our truths. Tribal museums and cultural centers are a source of great pride for many of our tribal communities, and today we are going to visit some of these phenomenal places. Hoċokata Ťi interprets and encourages traditional Mdewakanton Sioux cultural heritage, language, and history by sustaining their inherent knowledge through exhibitions, preservation, and education. Hoċokata Ťi's 3,805 square foot public exhibition called Mdewakanton Dwellers of the Spirit Lakes provides visitors with a cultural experience that enhances their knowledge and understanding of the Mdewakanton Dakota people and their history. Tours are offered to guests where an assortment of Dakota Sioux artifacts can be viewed in the public gallery. So let's go back to the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux Community just south of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, to visit with Andy Vig and Cassie Bryant from Hoċokata Ťi. Welcome back, Andy.
Hey, thank you, Shannon. Mitake wana ampetu kinde nina washtedo. My relatives, it's a really great day. Mitake wana Hoċokata Ťi dedyahi. So we're here at Hoċokata Ťi, and we're in our public exhibit called Mdewakanton, Dwellers of the Spirit Lake. Mitake Shakopee Mdewakanton Dakota Oyate yahipi kinwashtedo. On behalf of the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux Community, we welcome all the visitors here today. And if you get a chance to come on out and visit us, we're located just south of Minneapolis in Minnesota, about 20 minutes. And we opened in 2019. We've had great success, especially with school groups and especially the public coming out to learn more about Dakota, specifically the Shakopee Mdewakanton Dakota people. This has been very important to tell our own story. Being a tribe, owning our own tribal museum and culture center, we get to tell our narrative and perspective. We're very happy to be part of this Tribal Museums Day 2023. And, we've offered free admission, and it's really been quite busy in here. So we're very excited. Behind me here, through our exhibit, we told the story also of the beautiful seasons in the Midwest. And we're currently in Waniatu, which is winter, and we have a traditional buffalo hide teepee. And, you know, teepee is a Dakota word. We know that it's known all around the world, but that word is important to us. It means they dwell or a home. And so throughout the exhibit, you'll get to read our language, our Dakota Iapi, and you'll get to hear it. We have so many great recordings, and it all was recorded by our members. Another thing I should add is that our tribal members with this work group, this culture and history preservation work group, actually wrote every single word in this exhibit. So very proud of that. You know, our history in Minnesota does include some difficulties. We lost most of our resources over the last 170 years, but we're still here, and so we're just proud to be able to share our story with the public and also our own community members, our youth. You know, they're learning the language. The language is coming back, but certainly this museum, this exhibit is helping educate our young people. Off to the left side here, we transition into the springtime, and we call that time wet dew. And our diorama is showing that we tap maple trees for their syrup. And we still do that today. So just a great thing we wanted to share. And we still, you know, harvest all that maple syrup. And so we're happy that we have a small land base to do that. And then, you know, lastly, I did want to explain that we did get about 20 items on loan from the Smithsonian. And we're just very happy that we were able to get some of those Dakota items back in the homelands. And they were great to work with. And I think as long as tribes have a place to store them safely, the Smithsonian's willing to help. And then I'm going to transition here. I'm going to kind of come over here and talk a little bit about lacrosse. So most tribes in North America have a version of a ball and stick game. Contemporary name for it is lacrosse. We call it Tecopseh-Choppy. And so both the Anishinaabe and Ojibwe and Dakota have the same style of sticks here. And this game is thousands of years old. This is one of our traditional games. And so what's really special about this game is that all of our 7 directions are present when we play this game. And something else that was interesting that we're sharing with the public, it was quite rare that tribes would have warfare. And this game helped with that. If there was ever a dispute with a neighboring tribe, you could play a game of lacrosse or Tecopseh-Choppy and handle that dispute. In fact, the other word that we use to describe this game is Okichize Chistina, Little War. At this time, I am going to share another location in the building, and our building operational manager, Cassie Bryant, is in our gift shop, where we feature over 90 Native American artists, authors, and business owners. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Cassie. Take it away.
Washte Pidamiga, Andy, thank you. Welcome to our gift shop at Hoċokata Ťi. We work hard here to promote our Native artists and Native makers around Minnesota, Makoche, and all of Indian country. I'm going to show you guys some of my favorite items we have in here. In our store, you'll always find something neat. Andy talked about our maple syrup. We do distill, is that the right word? And sell, process the maple syrup we tap here on our tribal lands and sell it. It's the best maple syrup you will ever have. We feature plenty of original art pieces like this one here from amazing Dakota and Dene artist Avis Charlie. I've got a beautiful ribbon skirt by one of our own tribal members here, Cindy Milda. She is an amazing seamstress. Beautiful. Some of my favorite items we have in the shop are from Minnesota businesses that are Native owned and work with Native designers. Heartberry is by Sarah Howes from Fond du Lac, and she makes beautiful, amazing designs. I love this bomber jacket. Or the Natives which are more contemporary. I got this shirt for Andy to eat with his maple syrup. We also have amazing, amazing items from our sister communities here in Minnesota. We're home to 4 Dakota communities. And Lower Sioux has a long history of beautiful pottery work that they've been making out of Match-E-B-Nash-She-Wish, so our Minnesota clay here. And of course, if this isn't enough for some of your shopping, we have our winter art market coming up next week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, December 7th, 8th, and 9th. It'll be 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's free and open to the public. We'll have around 50 different vendors from across the Midwest, Minnesota, and the upper Midwest Indian Country area. We hope you come and visit us then, and can't wait for you to learn more about Hoċokata Ťi and visit us in our exhibit. If you have questions, you can go to our website for dates, times, and locations on the website for the art market. I'm going to flip back to Andy at this time, back into our exhibit to talk about some more modern parts of our exhibit and our people.
All right. Thank you, Cassie. I am very excited about the art market. Can't wait for that. And just always impressed with the gift shop we have here. So many great things. But here is another location in our exhibit. This is towards the end, and I'd just like to share this because, you know, this is a powerful space. It shows that the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux people, that we're still here. I think so often people think of Native Americans in history in the past, but this area shows what our tribe is doing today. And so a closer look on the day-to-day operations of our tribe and our contribution. You know, we own multiple businesses that are very successful. Of course, gaming has helped in many ways, but it's allowed us to diversify. And while we do that, we want to be mindful still of Unchi Maka or Ina Maka, Mother Earth. So we do have a native green initiative here. How can we protect the land that we have, the water, all that? We do have our own fire department, and we actually work with the local cities and county. We actually have roughly 70 agreements with them. And so that's been something that shows being a good neighbor to the folks around us. And then if you look towards the other way here, it talks a little bit about our federal recognition. In 1969, we were recognized and got that federal recognition. And what does sovereignty mean for our people? And then right here at the end, I'm going to kind of transition over here. And I just wanted to show you, we do have a very nice diorama that we rotate through. And we show some of our ceremonial, or I should say, Match-E-B, the powwow dance regalia. And we rotate this out every year. And this one just got installed. And this is more of a contemporary piece with a ribbon skirt, a women's ribbon skirt. And this was made by one of our artists here. And then you can also see kind of in the background behind the case there, the beautiful beaded women's traditional regalia. And that is one of the items that we have on loan. So when you come out, I hope you guys visit. You know, we're here. We're still operating with a smaller team. We're open Wednesdays through Saturday, 9 to 4. I hope you guys come out if you're ever in Minnesota. And again, Cassie mentioned our website, hochokatatthi.org. And I'll turn it over back to you, Shannon.
All right. Nishin. Miigwech, Andy, and Cassie, and the entire team at Hoċokata Ťi for your outstanding work. I, for one, would love to visit again. The gift shop looks fabulous. That's usually my first stop. So I just want to encourage all of our listeners out there to Stop in Hoċokata Tea the next time you are visiting the Twin Cities area. Add that to your itinerary and stop in to say hello to Andy and Cassie. The Center for Native Futures brings together Native artists to imagine themselves richly, where art can provide a lens to learn from the past, nurture the present, and realize a thriving future. Celebrating a grand opening in September of 2023, the Center for Native Futures is the only all-Native artist-led arts nonprofit organization in the heart of Shakopee, Chicago, Illinois. We will now welcome to our show the founders for the Center for Native Futures to share more about their groundbreaking center. So let's welcome Deborah Yepapapan and Monica Rickert-Bolter. Welcome, ladies.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Deborah Yepapapan. I'm a co-founder and co-director of Center for Native Futures.
Hi, I'm Monica Rickert-Bolter, also co-founder and co-director here at Center for Native Futures.
We just want to say thank you for inviting us to share our space with everyone. And I guess we do want to emphasize that we are not a museum, but we are a cultural center, and definitely a space for Native artists. And Monica will give you a brief overview of Center for Native Futures while I go and get ready to give you a tour soon.
Okay, thanks, Deborah. Center for Native Futures was founded in 2020 by a group of young artists that all got together, well, of all ages, actually. And we're all Native and based here in Chicago. And it was more of a passion project that was definitely from Chris and Deborah Papan. And they really wanted to see something that would grow here in the city of Chicago that was arts focused and brought in a fine art look into, what Native artists are actually doing, how they're keeping their traditions alive, how they're elevating and expanding and using new materials to really just showcase, amazing artistry. So in 2020, pandemic was actually a blessing in disguise. Things aligned and we were able to set up a 501c3. The following year, we did virtual programming. And then up until this year in June, we actually moved into our physical space here in the Marquette building through our partnership with the MacArthur Foundation and the Terra Foundation for American Art. And the supporters have just continued to grow. We are trying to make sure everybody understands that Native people have always lived here in the city, and we will continue to have our presence be known. Representation matters. That's why we're also downtown, because otherwise most of the imagery that you would see of Native people is very Eurocentric or not fully representational of who lived here in the area. So we like to acknowledge that our Anishinaabe tribes, our Oneida, Sac and Fox. We had so many other tribes that were coming through this area, and we're treating it as a metropolis as it was, that we had resources with the lake and then the river. So there was a lot of traveling going around, and it's still continuing to this day. So that's why Center for Native Futures, we invite people that have been removed from this area to come back to your tribal, your ancestral homelands. You have a space here. You have stories to tell through art, through poetry. We want you. We want you here. We are building a community for the arts here in Chicago, and knowing that LGBTQ, Two-Spirit Plus folks are always welcome. Share your poetry, share your thoughts. And we just want to create a good, safe space for our Native community. So we really love all the support. We have free public programming. We are open Wednesday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you can always reach out to Deborah and I and set up a private tour. We love collaborating. We love gaining accomplices. We love making change and doing it through visual arts. So I'm going to pass it over to Deborah, who will give you a tour.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry, I apologize for my voice. I'm recovering from a cold. So I'll do my best here, but welcome to the Center for Native Futures. I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough and show you some of the amazing art that we have right now. We opened in September with our inaugural exhibition that we titled Native Futures. Here we have artist John Hitchcock. What we wanted to do with this first show is really, highlight some of the artists that we've already been working with since our founding. So, because we didn't have a physical space until now, we didn't really have a lot of exhibition opportunities until now. We did show at Expo Chicago for the past 2 years. And some of these artists are artists that we showed in our expo booth. Since those were very short-run, short-term opportunities, we wanted to give these artists another opportunity to show their work for a much longer period of time. So this show will be open until May 17th. Here we have artist Kodak Smith, who is a Chicago-based artist. We have Tom Jones, who is also one of the artists in our booth at Expo this year. And as Monica mentioned, we want to make sure that we provide the space for those artists that represent those tribes that were displaced from this area. So including, Ho-Chunk artists, as well as we have some Pottawatomi and Ojibwe artists here. And these are a lot of Chicago-based artists. And here we have Camille Billy, who did this. She's a recent graduate from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. And I know you'll all be visiting the Osage Tribal Museum in a little bit. So I wanted to also highlight that we have some Chicago-based Osage artists like June Carpenter here. We have this piece by Kelly Church. I think many of you might be familiar with Kelly. She made this black ash hat specifically for this show. So here's a piece by Lydia Cheshawala, who is another Chicago-based Osage artist. This is a really good example of the importance of having this art space that is founded by other Native artists. This piece is a work in progress, and I'll give you a closer look. These are all assembled by Lydia. These are all natural materials that she found on different walks in different areas around the city, and other natural areas. And this piece will actually be growing. She'll come back and she'll continue to install and expand on this piece. And again, the importance of having Native artists that are running this organization. We're respecting her process as an artist. We understand what her process is, and we're giving her that opportunity to just, do this in her own time, in her own way, and giving her that space and support to do that, which is something that's really important as an artist, from an artist's perspective. We have this piece here by Leanna Asher, who is an Ojibwe artist who lives in the Chicagoland area. We also, one of the nice things about our space is that we have a studio. I'm not going to take you in the studio right now, but we have an artist in residence. and her name is Noelle Garcia, and this is one of her pieces. So she's been here since June working in the studio, just creating, coming in, kind of hanging out with us too. And, it's been really nice to just sit and talk about art with other artists, with other Native artists. This piece is by artist X, who, although, he's not in Chicago anymore, he has been, he's a very good friend of ours and has been part of our Native art community here for some time before he moved. We have artist Dakota Mace. She's a photographer. We have Hattie Lee Mendoza. She's a Cherokee Nation artist who we recently met. And, we wanted to make sure that, she was welcomed into our Native arts community here. We have this piece by Jason Weesaw, who is Pokagon Pottawatomi. So again, welcoming those artists from those tribes that had been displaced from the Chicagoland area. And then turning around here, here's a piece that I created. So, Center for Native Futures is not just for, we are Native artists ourselves. And so, we've been needing this type of space to show our work also. So that's why it's important for us to have our work here too. So here's a piece by Monica Rickert Bolter, who you just met, one of our co-founders. Here's another co-founder artist, my husband, Chris Papan, who is Kaw, Osage, and Cheyenne River Lakota. And here's a piece by Noelle Garcia. This is a fun piece because it's one of those that, you can kind of, the public can interact with it and kind of gently move it around. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm not sure I can be very gentle with it at the moment. And aside from artists that, are Chicagoland based, we also want to make sure that, we provide space for Native artists from around the country too. Chicago is a huge metropolitan city, and we've never had this kind of a fine art gallery setting where we can share our work and show our work as Native artists. And so we have artist Holly Wilson here. She's an amazing sculptor, and all of these little pieces are made from Crayola crayon. We have this piece by Chelsea Bighorn, who is, she's a student at the School of the Art Institute, which is just down the street from us. And fun fact, we're on Adams Street in Chicago. We're actually right at the very beginning of Route 66. So we're actually on Route 66. And then on this video monitor, we have, we have these poets from the TIES program that we support, and TIES provides a platform for LGBTQ plus Two-Spirit poets to share their works. And this video loops through, and then there's also a video of a performing artist, Jihei Yepapapan, my daughter, who does a dance performance. So this is the space that we've created for our Native community, for Native artists. And, it's a safe space. This is a Native space. When people come in here, we do want to remind people that they're coming into a Native space. We're, we've created the space to also, bring in our Indigenous values into the way that we do things here as well. this is a space where Native people can come together and, we could just be ourselves. We can be who we are as contemporary people. And for artists, to find other Native artists that we can, get together with and just, talk about art and nerd about art, I think is really a cool thing. So, we invite people to come in. We don't charge admission. Our events are free. We'll be working on some artist presentations from some of these artists in the new year, including myself and Monica. And this weekend on Saturday, December 9th, actually next weekend, we're hosting our second biennial Mound Summit Symposium. And I'm actually going to let my voice is kind of going on me now, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this back over to Monica, and she can give you more information on the Mound Summit. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Deborah. So thank you so much, Deborah. So the Mound Summit is focused on Native curators and their importance and just how they play a critical role in elevating Native artists and how they have to navigate working within colonized, these colonial institutions, and then versus actually creating our own space. How do we want to represent our stories and our art and everything else? So we invite you all to register. Space is limited here in person, but we are working to have some sort of live stream or a recording that folks can tune into. So thank you all so much. This was just a wonderful time. And miigwech. Back to you, Shannon.
Miigwech, Deborah and Monica, and all those at the Center for Native Futures. Boy, who wouldn't want to hang out with some indigenous artists? So next time you check out Chicago, please pop into the Center for Native Futures. They gave their times that they're open, but Deborah and Monica are always willing and able to open the center up if it's a Saturday or a Sunday. Just give them some advance notice and you can visit. Very inspiring place. I'm so proud of all of these artists that came together to envision, to dream, to scheme, and to bring to life this beautiful place. Chicago, as we know it, is one of the urban meccas that was part of the blueprint for the Indian Relocation Act of 1952, in which, federal policy lured our families from our homelands, from our reservations, our territories, to somewhat break up our communities. And they were lured to these big cities with the promise of big jobs and big money, and sometimes that never worked out. But many of our relatives who stayed in the big cities like Chicago and the Twin Cities and Seattle and LA, they created their own community, their own tribe, bringing together their cultures, sharing their values. And it's a wonderful thing to see all of these young artists provide this place and this safe space for our people to thrive. So miigwech to all of you at the Center for Native Futures. So from one of the newest places and cultural centers that is joining the nearly 140 throughout the country, we are now going to virtually travel to the oldest tribal museum in the country, the Osage Tribal Museum. On a windy day on May 2nd in 1938, the Osage Nation organized a big parade and picnic on the grounds of their old school and chapel. They dedicated the first tribal museum that day. 85 years later, the Osage Tribal Museum in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, is the oldest tribally owned museum in the United States.
No charge, sir.
So
free. We
let's
operate-
visit with John Horse Chief from the Osage Tribal Museum. And we need to acknowledge that John is the only one working today at his museum. So we may have interruptions from visitors, but we're just going to enjoy seeing him operate, seeing him welcome people into the tribal museum as the only staff person that's taking care of business over there. So miigwech, John, for joining us today. We know you're busy. And we don't know if traffic is picking up because of a little movie that came out this past fall, but we want to thank you for your time. So let's welcome John Horse Chief from the Osage Tribal Museum.
Well, Hoi Dahe Bashe, Jaji Wajaji Watseta, John Horse Chief Jaji Ishtahe Abrin, Zanzoli Mingshe, Sijo Wastake Tawala Mingshe, we're Owakikon. So my name is John Horse Chief. I'm Osage. I'm from the Hominy Village, and I work here at the Osage Nation Tribal Museum. And how we say that is like, so when we say a painting, we say Inse Waleze. That means it's like a face with writing on a face. And so this is where we keep all the faces painted at, because we have a large collection of portraits also of our tribal members. So like Shannon was saying, the museum was built in 1938. It's on the grounds of the old school. Originally, we came here to Oklahoma in 1871 from our lands in Kansas. And we come down here. This place is called the Osage Nation Campus. And so there's 87 acres up here. This is originally the chapel for the school. And there was a boys and girls dormitory up here. The dormitory went away. Oh, no, the chapel was torn down in 1921. And then in 1938, the guy who created the museum was John Joseph Matthews. He was an Osage man who was a Rhodes Scholar. He went to Oxford and he got a scholarship there, but he paid his own way. And then while he was out traveling the world, seeing all these great, wonderful places, he was looking for himself and his art, and he was, kind of doing that journey. And so he was like, where I'm from is more fascinating, more rich than all these places I go in the world and see. I got, I have a pot of gold at home. And so he came back here and started writing about Osage culture, our journeys, our old religion, our beliefs, our values, and then just tribal histories and stories. He became a council member, and then he built this museum. And so we're the first tribal museum in America, the third museum in Oklahoma. And as Osage people, we're very proud of this museum. It's a place where we come to, and so we design and exhibit this museum for the specific reason for our own tribal members. But we love to be great guests. We love to share. But yeah, it's for our people, by our people. And this is a place where artists can come, hang out. Elders can come here and visit. People from town can come here, and our community members can come here and do certain things. And so we love to be really open and just tell them this is your museum too. And you're welcome here. And, if we can help you, we have genealogical records. We have pictures of most of the original Latis. And so the Osage tribe was made official in 1906. So that Oklahoma could become a state in 1907. And so we have pictures of most original Latis. And that's where that whole headright system and the allotments come from. But so let me start moving around the museum and kind of show you guys around. And so, like I said, my name is John Horse Chief. I'm the program assistant here. My director is Marla Redcorn Miller. She's a great lady. She's got lots of experience in the museum world and really taking us to the places we need to be. And so we have some paintings here, but we also have just like tribal artifacts around here. These busts right here were created. Oh man. So they were created for the study of phrenology, and they were created in 1904, but they got some really good, they captured some really good details of our ancestors and our forefathers. These guys had to sit with straws in their nose for 2 hours to get the plaster right. But here's my great-great-grandfather, Charles Warishi. And he was one of our priests and what we call Nohojinga, our little old men, and they're the religious leaders of our tribe. And we're a people who believe in balance. We believe in, you know, man, woman, life, death, young and old, and all that stuff. And so we have two divisions in our tribe, Sky and Earth division. So in our museum, we also have this image over here. And this is kind of a famous image of it's the one that David Grand talks about in his book. But this is when we got our Osage women raised more war bonds in World War I than any other group in America. And those are old-time ladies. They still believed in supporting the warriors when they were off at war. And so they knew all the things they had to do when our men were away. And so we have all women up there, and we can all kind of trace our lineage back to one of those ladies. But we also was getting recognition for our U.S. citizenship in 1904. This is October 10th, 1924. But we did it like this. So we have our men on one side and then our women on the other, because we believe in that balance. And we're definitely a tribe that relies heavily upon our mothers and our sisters and all that good stuff. And so very thankful for their guidance. But the museum has two galleries. And let me see here. So I'll kind of show you around and show you some objects. So this is the man who created our tribal museum. His name is John Joseph Matthews. His dad was the first silversmith way up in Kansas. And he's married to an Osage woman. That's who he comes from. He's the Rhodes Scholar. We have a little section on our language. We created an orthography in 2006 to better pronounce our words. And that buffalo you see back there, that was given to us by Phillips, Frank Phillips, the man who started Phillips Oil Company in 1938, and we opened a museum. And we actually ate that whole buffalo on May 2nd, 1938. But yeah, there's some real carnivores around here. So like, always tease around that like they're like baby T-Rexes back then. But so we go through here in our museum. Well, I will say something else. I have a little exhibit over here on our veterans. And out front of the museum, if you want to show some of the slides of our current museum with our veterans exhibit, we're a pretty neat veterans exhibit. We have shields of our past warriors, our staffs, and then some of our veterans' uniforms. We did a small code talking thing in World War I. We weren't official code talkers. We weren't like in a unit specifically designated for it. But yeah, that is our veterans exhibit right there. And it really means a lot to us. Our veterans, our leaders in our tribe, and we support our warriors. We encourage our boys to always, you know, all our men and women to always, you know, take part and defend this land. And so we honor our veterans. We took part in World War I as code talkers. And so this is some of our stuff. Surprisingly, there was a ship called the USS Osage in the Civil War, which is kind of different because we were still kind of having trouble with the United States government then, but they named a ship after us during the Civil War. We had some people participate on both sides of the Civil War, and that was when we're living in Kansas. Okay, so around here we'll kind of go around. This is really hard, but we have a couple of interesting items here. One of my favorite items is this fawn case, this fawn feather case. Let me see. Right, it's kind of hard to see, but that's it right there. This is about 200 years old, and that Chief Lookout, our last hereditary chief, donated this to the museum, and it's a baby fawn flipped inside out, and then it holds feathers, so you can put it in a certain way and you pull them out a certain way, and it protects them, makes them real nice. We have old trade items that we used to get from the government, coins, and some of the tools they gave us. Like those are the tools that they were giving us that they promised us, and a child's saddle. My favorite object in the museum. We have over 9,000 objects in the museum, and which is why we have to expand. And so I'll get into that here in a second. This is my favorite object in the museum here. This right here, this guy right here, that otter cap right there, it's over 200 years old, and it's got over 7 birds on it. Woodpecker, it's got a shell. It's got trade items too, but it's got 3 different kinds of eagles. It's got a hawk, owl, swan. So it's got 7 types of birds on it, and that is my personal favorite object out here in the collection. Since we were the first tribal museum, collection practices have improved a lot since then. So we had a rededication back in 1958. And the curator at the time, John Joseph Baptist's sister, actually wore that headdress on the rededication day. So we don't do that no more. We don't go back and pick out our favorite dance clothes and put them on special occasions, but we do take really good care of our items, and we try to make that accessible to our tribal members and to every once in a while we'll have groups come in and like they want to study ribbon work or they want to study. So we're known for our ribbon work and our finger weaving. I'm taking you guys up to our next gallery. So in this room, we have an installation done by a mother-daughter Osage artist duo, and they're named Wendy Ponca and Alex Ponca Stock. And they're well-known Osage artists. They do all kinds of forms of art, painting, sewing, weaving, the whole bit, the whole thing, all forms of expression. But one thing I like about being Osage is that we like to try new things. We do all kinds of different art. So when we had our 150-year celebration, we had a dance, a huge meal, but we also had a ballet. We had a play, we had a poetry reading. So we like to try new things. We like to, we enjoy art. We love art. So this exhibit here is silk, and it's draped over like this because it represents the 7 bends in the river of life. And we're water people. And so these are like the trials and tribulations you go through as an Osage person. You have your ups and downs. You're born, you're a teenager, and then you're a young adult, then you're a parent maybe, and then you're auntie, uncle, then you become older, and you're always searching for calm and peaceful waters. So in addition to this installation by Wendy and Alex, they also did some paintings. And she just added it in. She has her own form of expressing, but that's her nephew. She drew him. He's getting ready to go in and dance. That's his first day. So she drew him right before he's getting ready to go in our dances. And so our dances are very important to us. They keep our community together. They keep our tribe together. And we always try to just respect them and love those dances as much as we can, because that's Indian Madonna right there. And that's like actually a real person. These are all real people. And this lady's an artist too. She's a good artist. And then this lady is an Osage elder, and she was like a history keeper, language keeper, and she was way ahead of I wish David Grant could have met her, because many of her records are used in his research, and many of it was done at Fort Worth also. But this lady didn't let that die, right? Because that thing that happened in the 1920s, what they call the Osage Reign of Terror, was was trying to be brushed under the carpet, like many other terrible parts of our American history. And so she didn't let it get brushed under the carpet. And so what I will say about the movie was that David Grant started his research here back in 2012. He came in here to do an article about the Reign of Terror in the 1920s for the New York Times. And he ran into our former director, Miss Catherine Redcorn, beautiful, kind lady. And she started talking to them, and then she just, in her slow, kind, polite, funny, humble way, she just said, "This is what happened." And he was like, "Man, I got a book here." And so he started doing his research. So in 2012, he started that. And now here it is, 2023, the movie's out. Place is completely different. But if any of you have read the book, they talk about cutting out a picture of this giant panorama in here. And so that's the corner where it was cut out. And that was cut out by another Osage artist and former director, Joe Don Brave, because the man, William Hale, was standing right next to that up there where they cut it out. And this, I wish I had a better camera. I could show you guys this panorama picture, because it's like amazing quality. But yeah, it's huge. And we come in here and stare at it all the time. Sometimes tribal members will just come in here and just look at it and start talking. And we have one lady in our tribe, and she was not born when this happened, but her sister's in here. And so she's worked here at the museum, so we're very thankful for that and just all the memories we have. And that's another thing, is that this is an ancient history for us. These are like, this happened to our grandparents and great grandparents, and so it's real to us. And so when we speak about the film Killers of the Flower Moon, we, as Osage people, we feel all these losses together as a unit. So if something happens to one of us, it affects all of us, right? But hey, have a good day, sir. Thank you. But so when I speak about the movie, though, I'm only going to speak from my perspective as John Horse Chief. And so I'm very glad he made the book. It was written for the larger audience of people in America. It wasn't written for us, by us, but he did his research. And in his book, he's specifically by the facts. I mean, it's strictly factual. I mean, it's from archives in Fort Worth. But when you watch the end of the movie and they give that trial, that's actual court testimony from the William Hale trial. And so it's very, very factual. It's by the book, and all those things did happen. They happened on a much larger scale. The William Hale was like the most flamboyant one, the one who got caught, the one who went too far. But it was happening on all sorts of different scales. It was like the whole community kind of conspired to defraud us and steal our land. But like we say, only through our culture and our community are we still here, right? So we're huge on that. We love that. We love being, we always, no matter what is personal, on those 4 days, we get along and we love each other. And so it's very important. They always say you got to respect the position and not the person. So that's how we keep this order and stuff like that. But, moving forward, we're trying to use the exposure with the movie to expand our museum. And could you guys show them a picture of our expansion plans? Shannon. Hello, Shannon. Okay, well, anyway, we're going to expand our museum. And we're using the movie to promote awareness, to lead them to this site called the Osage Nation Foundation. And the foundation is promotes the arts in with Osage artists. Oh, yeah, cool. So, yeah, that's how the museum currently looks. Next slide. There's the Veterans Memorial up close. There's all the Osages who've served in all the branches. There's an aerial view of how it's going to look, kind of coming in. And it's going to be next to our language center and cultural center. So there's going to be two buildings. That little pathway in the middle is like an area where we can meet and visit. But we try to work closely with historic preservation, language, and culture. So it's like the cultural division kind of thing. And so we work very closely, and it makes it so much better. And if you look at the top of the building, you'll see a shape. There's a it's got like a triangle kind of shape, and that represents the three villages that we have nowadays. And that is Wahakali, that's Pahuska people, Thorny Thicket people, Pasuli, that's Big Hill people, Gray Horse people, and then Zonzoli, that's where I'm from, that's Hominy people. And that's the three districts we have now down here in Oklahoma. And we've had those divisions in our tribe since we can remember, and it all stems from a flood, and that's where we took shelters in our separate locations. But what was I going to say? Okay, so if you do come here, since you guys, call ahead, let us know you're going to come. We'll give you a tour, and we'll try to, be ready, be prepared. And the one thing that we love around here at the Osage Nation Museum is, of course, we love helping our tribal members and, letting them, reconnect or study their history more, their genealogy more, or just come learn more things about who we are. But we also love visiting outsiders. We love visiting other people and sharing what we can share and talking about who we are and, what keeps us together and our journey as a people. But, we definitely like to be good neighbors. The movie has created quite a bit of traffic around here. It's been crazy since they first came here. So they came here and they started doing research, and Scorsese was really adamant. No, it was a lot of stuff went on. So they hired Osage artists to make all the clothes. So all the clothes you see Osages wearing in a film were made by Osages. I personally made over 90 pairs of moccasins. And so over the course of the movie, altogether, we made about 1,000 pairs of moccasins to wear during the 4 or 5 months they shot around here. And so it rained a lot that summer. And so we had to make I made size 9 women's and kids moccasins. So if you ever see that movie where that little girl walks over the grave, little Anna, yeah, I made those moccasins. But it was really, I have one really cool thing I want to say though. There was a woman who worked for Apple. Her name was Christy Hoffman. And we all think about her, all us Osage artists, because the Apple costume department actually tried to kind of overrun our gig and try to reproduce our stuff cheaper and faster, right? But that would have taken away from the authenticity of the movie, and it would have been, you can tell, and so we wouldn't have endorsed it, or So anyway, this one lady, she's from Michigan. She's Pottawatomi, I believe, but man, she went to bat for us. She stood up for us, and so one person can make a difference. And she kept us working, and she really added to the legitimacy of the movie as far as the costumes and everything goes. And so Christy got sent back to Hollywood, to Hollywood, because of the trouble that went on with the costume department. But man, she stuck to her guns, and she paid a price, but she still works for Apple. She's still in the the movie industry. But it was a big deal, and so we personally are very thankful to her. We're the Osage people are still friends with David Grant and his partner, Martin Scorsese. Actually came to our dances and got to sit on our bench. And when he went to Gray Horse, man, they were giving him blankets, and they really treated him well. So he has a very close connection to our community, and all the actors do, the ones who are really involved. And some came here and got more involved than others. And it was quite a journey. And since that's happened, since the movie came out, we usually get 20 people in our museum. It's been like 75, 100 people every day, and it's intense. They're coming with questions, really. They've been studying. So it's good for us, and we enjoy it. It's just another thing we kind of have to go through, but overall, so the movie we do have kind of some mixed reactions about it, because it is over one of the most painful parts of our history. But for me, I'm glad the story was told and not swept under the rug. We're not as sympathetic towards Ernest as most people are, right? We believe he knew what he was doing. Funny side note, I actually met him and Byron when I was a little boy. I used to cut the grass at this other museum here in town, and in the county, in the reservation, and it wasn't open for some reason. I came at lunchtime. I went around back. I was looking for someone, and then I saw this trailer back there on the other side of the property. I thought, well, maybe someone's over there. I walked over there, and he was kind of rude and kind of mean, but yeah, that was Ernest and Byron. They lived together in a trailer here in the county, and that's where they died. But it's a wild time, and it was real people. And so we always try to be respectful to those families, because there's still many, many descendants from all that stuff. And, earlier I showed you my grandfather, Charles Warishi. He was murdered during the Reign of Terror. So it was like a heavy thing for us, but it's good to acknowledge it and then grieve and then move on with our lives, because it's like here in this little community, everybody's kind of involved in it. If you've been here long enough, like their grandparents were the guardians. We were the Indians, so, but, and the funny thing is that quite of us are mixed and intermarried now. So that's, there's that other dynamic. But, let me see. So yes, please come visit. Please come check us out. There's lots to do here. We have some buffalo. We have some other attractions. It's not the most action-packed place out here in Osage County, but if you like the quietness and you like kind of like slower pace and country food, barbecue, and come on out and check us out and come visit. We'll visit with you and try to point you in the right direction. And the Center for Native Futures, I want to say that's awesome. June Carpenter is an awesome lady, man. She's a great artist. We featured her work here before. Her mother is one of the main language instructors for the movie. And that's a huge shout out to their department, man, because like around here we joke around and we say, if Robert De Niro can speak Wajaji'ia, you can speak Wajaji'ia. And their department has done amazing things. In the past 20 years, we got an immersion school. You hear kids talking Wajaji'ia. And so, like, we always say, we have no doubt there's going to be a Osage chief, man or woman, speaking Wajaji'ia fluently in about 10 or 15 years on their dress and all that stuff. And so it's a lot of hard work, but it's worth it. And so we're very proud to be here at the museum. And we, if you get a chance, just come see us. And that's really all I got. I don't know what else I should say.
Nishin, miigwech, John. Miigwech, John, miigwech. We are so grateful you spent time with us today. We can learn more about the Osage Tribal Museum and the fierce Osage tribal people. Miigwech for leading the way for the other tribal museums and cultural centers that were born after you. You guys are truly inspiring. And, what you've seen so far is that many of these tribal museum and cultural center folks, they are some unique, special human beings. They wear many hats. And just watching John share, the history, share his family history, learning he's an artist, a traditional artist, making over 90 pairs of moccasins. John, I might hit you up, see if you can make a size 11 in women's. I put something on my big Pottawatomi paws. But truly amazing people work at our tribal museums and cultural centers. And no day is like the one before. There is always something new and exciting happening, whether it's a tribal community member coming in to share an idea, or a new cultural belonging that made its way home, or working towards an exciting event, innovating language preservation projects, or bringing home our ancestors from various museums and institutions across this country. Tribal museum folks are the movers, the shakers, the dreamers, the schemers, the innovators, the rowdy folks sometimes, the indigenerds. And my heart goes out to all of you all over Native country who are doing this important work for our people. So our last stop on our Tribal Museum Day virtual journey is the Navajo Nation Museum, located in Window Rock, Arizona. Manuelito Wheeler, the director of the Navajo Nation Museum, is going to join us. And he is the brainchild and driving force, not only behind the museum, but the Navajo Language Preservation Project. This is a project that is one of its most important endeavors, is a means of maintaining the relationship between the descendants of the Navajo tribe and their glorious history and tradition. The Navajo language has been in danger of extinction as the younger generations have been drifting further and further away from their heritage. It is the utmost importance to bring the wonderful, colorful culture and language back from the brink of extinction and into living practice. So let's hear more about this project and the Navajo Nation Museum from its director, Manuelito Wheeler. Ani Buju, Manny, and welcome.
Yate, Shannon, Yate, everybody out there in the virtual world, so to speak. She Manuelito Wheeler unit, yeah, sitting on Janine Sloan, yay, touching, yay, Bashishini, Tohitlini, yay, Bashiche. I am the current museum director. I've been the museum director for a whopping 15 years, which is still surprises me to this day. Today we're having a big event here. It's probably our biggest art market. There's a close second. We have something during the Navajo Nation Fair as well. That's pretty big. But we're here in Window Rock, Arizona. Can you pan around real quickly to kind of see what's going on? So there's people selling outside, and if you're in the Window Rock area and you want some curly fries, you better hurry up and come on Bye. So I'll go ahead and bring you on in, and hopefully you can hear me, and yeah, show you around. Come on in. Stay. So as you can see here, we're having our Keshmish market, and people are shopping and buying. So, you know, it's definitely a great atmosphere. But one of the things that I like about it, aside from it being a community event, it provides our community to make a living. And if you're familiar with the Navajo Nation and many other Indian tribes, you know, we don't come from super wealthy backgrounds financially anyway. So when people are here selling their arts, you know, it makes us all feel good that we're contributing to their income in some way. So we have a whole, you know, different ages, different art. You can kind of around and show quickly, you know, the styles of things that are going on here. You know, painters, jewelry makers. I'm on the internet right now, so is it okay if we show this? Okay, we have Gary Custer here, and he's one of the many artists here. And like I said, if you're in the Window Rock area, come on by and buy directly from the artist. You know, that's another thing. When you buy directly from the artist, the profits go directly to them instead of there being middlemen. So I'll try and keep this within time. Would really love to show you more people here, but that would take up my whole 15 minutes. So go on there. So right here, here's one of our more, they're all great artists, but here's one of our more popular artists, Tanya June Raphael. Her table is always crowded. You can just go ahead and hold the tablet over and try and get a glimpse of what she's showing there. So, you know, she's definitely a popular artist here in the community and probably nationally. I know she sells nationally, and she attends all the major art markets. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Hello, everybody.
And so, you know, we have.
If you guys would keep an eye out for a black phone.
Oh, somebody lost a black phone, and we have one of our
Well, it's exciting there in Window Rock. It looks like we're having some technical difficulty. Manny was expressing to us earlier that with so many people, as you can see, visiting the Navajo Nation Museum today, they all have their cell phones on and the bandwidth just seems to get gobbled up. So we hope he can rejoin us. We can see more of the Navajo Nation Museum and hear more about the language project that was innovated right there at the museum. So what a day. We have traveled throughout the country, and it looks like we're going to take a look at the entrance to the Navajo Nation Museum. And the best way to reach them is through Facebook. They have an active Facebook page where they are offering information about upcoming events, hours of operation, and ways that you can possibly get involved at the Navajo Nation Museum. Involvement can come in many forms for our tribal museums and cultural centers. Some of them offer internships. These internships can take place in the winters and in the summers, but generally they're tailor-made to a student who wants to spend some time and be immersed in tribal museum and cultural center environments and within the culture. So if you're out there and in college or at a university and you're considering going into the museum field, we'd like to encourage you to take a look at some of our tribal museums and cultural centers across the country to possibly identify an opportunity for yourself to work. These opportunities are beyond what you can learn in books and through your academic path. Other ways to get involved with tribal museums are volunteering. Many of our tribal museums have volunteer opportunities, and we welcome folks to come in. As you can see, Manny may be a one-man show there, taking care of all the artists while giving us a tour. And earlier you saw over at Osage that we had one person there as well. So it's amazing to see these folks working, and volunteers are always welcome at many of our tribal museums and cultural centers across the country. So at this time, I'd like to invite all of our tribal museums and our culture center back as we gather to offer our miigwech for you spending time with us today, offer our well wishes for all of you to have a safe and healthy and happy winter season. And we'd like to, again, offer and encourage each and every one of you to visit one of these phenomenal places, the ones that were showcased today, but also the other 130 some that are throughout this country. The Association on American Indian Affairs website has an interactive map that outlines where all these places are. So when you're planning your trip for 2024, include a stop or two at a tribal museum or cultural center. I'd like to highlight a few tribal museums today that are out there doing this good work. The museum at Warm Springs in Oregon, they are celebrating 30 years of operation and have a special exhibition documenting their 30-year history. Today, they are offering free admission and 30% off in their gift shop. Their museum hours are 9 a.m. to noon and 1 to 5 Tuesday through Saturday. Down south in Tunica-Biloxi territory, the Tunica-Biloxi Museum in Marksville, Louisiana, they're offering free admission next week, December 4th through the 8th. Free entry for all peoples next week. Their museum hours are 9 a.m. to noon and 12:30 to 4 p.m. So please follow the Association on American Indian Affairs on all of the social networks, as they will be highlighting more tribal museums and cultural centers throughout the country. So at this time, I'm going to call upon our Uncle Frank to offer a few words as we close our journey today, our virtual journey. Uncle Frank, do you have some words to share with us as you explored these phenomenal tribal museums today virtually? I'd like to hear your thoughts.
What I was especially, thank you for the opportunity here again, and on behalf of the association and all of our board and council of advisors and staff, we really are appreciative for all the people who took the time to help personally be involved in this Museums Day today. And some of my thoughts are, as I look at this, I mentioned in my earlier remarks about museums often are thought of as places where we look to the past. And we certainly are looking to our past, looking to our heritage. And you've seen that in what people have done here. In the gallery, there's people who are painting traditional motifs and things that come from our past. But they're also very much part of our present and looking to the future. looking to how, that Native people are definitely part of that future. And we don't know what that future is going to be. But the museums are helping Indian country chart that way for our peoples. And in doing so, to help the non-Native neighbors understand us and understand us better for who we are and where we're headed. I had occasion to speak this last week at a historical museum in my hometown here in Harbor Springs, and we talked about some of our traditions and feasts that we have this time of year. And we had a chance to share that with both people from our own Native community as well as for non-Natives. And that idea of sharing our culture is evidenced by all the things that we've seen here from these different from the different museums. It looks like we're back at Navajo. I see the picture on there again. I really appreciated and was looking forward to further words there, but I know that I understand the limitations of all of our issues we have with the internet. But we not only have those, but that is what allowed us to do this thing today in the way it did. So Shannon, you did a great job coordinating all this. Appreciate that. And appreciate everybody being here and being part of this. And I'm going to turn it back to you. And if we have a couple minutes here, maybe we go back to Manny for another couple words here.
Nishan, Miigwech, Uncle Frank. Manny, did you want to share a few words? We had some technical difficulty with you as you were weaving your way through the throngs of people visiting your museum for the art market. Manny, you're on mute. There you go.
Oh, at what point did I cut out?
We lost you as you were weaving your way through the crowd.
Wow. I gave I gave the best tour of my career, and here it went out. So I'm letting my camera woman know we lost him after we went through the crowd. Okay, but you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just pan around. I wish I was able to give you more, but so here we're in the treaty, the Navajo Nation Treaty Commemoration exhibit, and if you zoom in on one of the panels, you can see all of our panels are translated into the Navajo language, and one of the most powerful moments of my career came when so the issue for Navajo people is we have a lot of speakers. We have a huge number of speakers, but they tend to be older, and we have younger people that aren't fluent, but because of immersion schools and because of programs in schools, they're literate, but they're not fluent. So there was a young Navajo girl reading the panels here to her grandmother one day as I was coming through the exhibit. And so that just really moved me, because I knew as a museum person, what we were doing was making a difference. So during the signing of the activity around the treaty, I guess the treaty culminated, but preceding the treaty was the forced removal of Navajo people to an area that was far, far away from our homelands. So, and that's what we called the long walk, and we were forced to move, off like many other tribes were. But because of our leaders, because of our spiritual beliefs, we were able to move. Can you take a look when we brought the Treaty of 1868 from the National Archives, and these are the cases that we built to bring the treaty. Right now there are facsimiles in there, but those actually held the treaty of 1868 from Washington cases as well. So they have a large team at Navajo that to the standards of the National Archives. So if I am quiet, I don't know if you'll hear, but we have the treaty also translated in Navajo, and it's being read in Navajo here. So the whole treaty is read, has been translated and read in Navajo. So, as a result of the activity of the commemoration of the signing of the treaty in 2018, there was a lot more research going on. There were people were digging in their archives, and information and news was coming out. And one of them was a woman from back east. Her name was Kitty Weaver. She came forward and said she had the Indian Peace Commission copy, also known as the Tappan copy, of the Navajo Treaty. So she donated that to us here at the Navajo Nation Museum. And we're I don't know of other tribes that have their treaty, but we're one of them, and we're proud of that fact. And here is one of our latest exhibits. It's called Cause Casus. And Larry Casus was an Indian activist for during the early 70s. And he was protesting the exploitation of Navajo people and by alcohol. And so, of course, it comes to no surprise to us as Indian people that the mayor of border towns that border the Navajo Nation, they held liquor licenses, and many politicians, etc. So he really stood up to voice his concerns and make that information public. And as a result, there was a standoff with him, and he was killed by police in Gallup. But to this day, our young people and older people, they really look up to Larry as one of our activists, speaking up for us. So here's a powerful installation piece that just has discarded alcohol bottles that come from just one small area on the Navajo Nation where alcohol is an issue. And so again, that's probably an issue that is familiar to other Indian tribes. So, wow, let me finish up. Book phase.
Looks like we're still having some technical difficulties with Manny. So what better way to enjoy the Navajo Nation Museum but to go there and visit? So we encourage you, if you're in the Window Rock, Arizona area, or if you just get to Arizona, make a drive. Go check out Manny and the Navajo Nation Museum in Window Rock. Looks like an amazing museum, and we look forward to hearing more about the language project that is coming from the museum. So on behalf of the Association on American Indian Affairs, we thank today's participating tribal museums and cultural centers. We thank their tribal nations, all of our supporting partners, and we especially thank each and every one of you for joining us today to celebrate Tribal Museums Day. So again, we hope you have a great winter season and that you will join us in 2024 for the 3rd annual Tribal Museums Day, where we will virtually journey to 4 or 5 other tribal museums across the country. So I want to allow Monica and Deborah to say Bama-P a few words before we close our day.
This was such a lovely experience. I love seeing everybody's museums and how you are just making it happen. Thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this. And miigwech, Baba-P, much love, all that good stuff.
Miigwech, ladies, and all the best for your future at the Center for Native Futures. I'm going to hop back over to John Horse Chief at the Osage Tribal Nation Museum. John, we're going to send a documentary crew and follow you around for about 3 or 4 months. That was awesome. So we're going to allow you to say a few words and see you down the trail. John?
I had a great time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for inviting us to the Osage Nation Museum. And I definitely look forward to hopefully coming and seeing your centers and your museums one day. And have a great day, great winter. Iwide Demikshe.
Miigwech, John. And last, we're going to jump over back to our host museum and say Cassie Bryant still in the gift shop amongst all of that beautiful stuff. Man, oh man, I want to be there. All right, Cassie.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you everybody else for inviting us to participate. Pidamiaye, we're so grateful for being included, and it's been great to experience all of your guys' museums and centers through your eyes, which I think is the most fun part, seeing the things that everybody loves and their favorite parts. We can't wait to do this again in the future, and I can't wait personally to visit all of your guys' centers. So Pidamia, and in Dakota, we don't have a word for goodbye. We say Dokshtaake. We'll see you again. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Hit the Tribal Museum Cultural Center trail in 2024. We hope you visit many next year and the years to come. So miigwech from Uncle Frank and I, we say Bama-P, Nikanisuk. See you down the path, my relatives. Miigwech and Bama-P.
Bama-P, Kwabman.